Hello. Welcome. Thanks for tuning in to today's podcast, It's Needed. Boy, I didn't know how much is needed until I got the response from all of you. And I just want to take the opportunity to thank you for first viewing, subscribing, you shared it, you liked it, you commented on it. So thank you so much. And I'll continue to bring what's needed. You keep viewing, subscribing, liking, and sharing it. And we'll talk about what's needed. Again, thank you for tuning in to today's podcast, It's Needed. I'm your host. I've been called everything except a child of God. I've been called a father, a husband, a dad, a pawpaw, preacher and teacher. I'm just your boy, Clayton Allen. And again, welcome to the podcast, It's Needed. I just want to piggyback on today's episode from our last podcast, our last episode. Who am I? And I want to look at 4 areas that definitely has an impact on who we are and who we are to become. These are all areas are always operating and shaping us. So it's not like that we can get to a point to say that we become, not as long as life still exists. Because as long as life still exists, with these 4 components I want to look at, it is always shaping us to become who we are. We are always becoming. Who we are in our 20s won't be who we are in our 30s. Who we are in our 30s won't be who we are in our 50s. And so on. Because we're always becoming. But now there are times that we get stuck. That's why there's grown people acting out childhood behaviors. Because that child experienced some type of tragedy or trauma that got them stuck. They had to stop. So when that child gets stuck, well, let me say this, that when a child gets stuck, he or she doesn't stop growing. They stop becoming. As we grow, we develop characters because we can't become who we are, so we put on a character. And when we're grown, we think that that character is who we are. Because we have also created some characteristics, no different than who our character is not who we are, and our characteristics are not who we are. They are things that we have put on our character. For example, I put on, or better yet, my character is, I'm a barber. So the characteristics that I put on is I do the things that the barbers do. I cut the hair, I talk, barbershop talk. You ask me about my day, I'll tell you what's happening at the barbershop. Because those are my characteristics now. And they help make up the character who I have developed of who I am. So no different than we're just a character in a play called life. Again, our character is not who we are, and our characteristics are only things that we have picked up and put on. Like it's the wardrobe for the character. The 4 areas that I want to speak on today: first, belief; where existence began the shaping of who we are to become, what we believe. From the beginning of where we come from plays a major part on what we are to become. Our thoughts process molds us to become what we think. Because what we think plays a big difference on who we actually are. Experiences. The different experiences in life, things that we go through, how we grew up, where we grew up, the different traumas, the happenings of life, our community, our support system, or the lack thereof. And last, our DNA. It does play an effect on who we are, because it is something that is passed down. I can truly say from my DNA and my ancestors, I'm a true Allen. I act like an Allen. There's characteristics that I recognize in the lineage of the Allens. So, let's look at the first one, belief. We highlighted in the first episode that we're determined of who we are by knowing or believing first where we came from. How did we become into existence? Was it the creation by God? Was it evolution? Was it the Big Bang Theory? As I looked at that, I noticed that out of all of those different beliefs of existence, only one suggests that there's a higher power. It suggests a connectivity between creator and creation. That's the what and the why that we as believers, we're drawn to spiritual things. We have a connection through the places that we go, church, the temple, the mosque, the literature that we read. FYI, all content and views from the host will be from one that believes that God created heaven and earth and everything that exists, including man. Thank you. So without this seek for connectivity with our creator, leaves a void. If we believed in evolution, but we know nothing about evolution, how it works, how it did its thing, we would have a real void. Because I would ask one, what do you believe? And they say evolution. I say, why? Because. Well, because what? Well, I heard someone say, well, then that's someone else's belief. What's your belief? Because we are connected to what we believe. So it leaves a void, no different than the one that this world experienced when God first created it and before he filled it. It was empty. It was unfulfilled. It was dark or stuck. Because we as human beings, we tend to get stuck when we faced with those voids in life that won't allow us to move on. When we are stuck, our belief, how we became is important, because only one, which is creation, suggests that there's some type of help that's beyond where we're at. It's beyond the reach of humanism. The others suggest, give you the thought that I'm on an island by myself with no help. Because yes, I could reach out to someone else, but what if they're just as stuck? What if they're busy or at work? So I guess I have to wait. And doing that waiting is when the things get etched into our belief system. You ever been in a situation that you felt like, I'm never going to get out of this? So you felt stuck, and it was etching into your belief system. But hopefully and thankfully that something occurred that came along and changed that and said, well, maybe there is hope. Oh, there is. Oh, I'm getting out of this situation. And through your thoughts and belief, you arise from whatever you were stuck in. When you're stuck, you do recognize that you want out, but even you can't. So we go into our dressing room. And this is where, when I was writing this, it made me think maybe my understanding of what character and characteristics truly are different than what they are. Because what we do when we're stuck and we can't become what we're to become, we create a character. And we create characteristics to cover our stuck up. When I first said that, I said, what? Because sometimes we do cover up our stuck upness. But when we get stuck, we don't stop growing. And life keeps lifing. So we give all that we have just to deal with life and its immediate issues. Our becoming gets put on the back burner. And just like the difference between who I am and who I am becoming, that difference is who I am today. I'm stuck. I ain't got no help, ain't seeking no help, I'm stuck. But through time, that may not be what I am tomorrow. So that's who I was. At the moment, it was who I am. But because of time, now I am becoming again. I'm no longer stuck. The same difference between think and thinking, or thinketh. Think indicates a single experience. Because of the experience, I think I can. And there could be another experience that changes my thinking. Or I could continue. I think from my understanding of what it gives a word, the ETH means to continue, a continuation of something. There's no way that I cannot become if I'm consistently telling myself, I think I can, I think I can, I think I can. Experience, I think I can, I think I can. Trauma, I think I can, I think I can. See, it never lets the things of life and the issues of life change what I think. And then as long as I'm thinking along the lines of what I believe, now I become what I believe. But the issue or the element of time and life and sometimes ends up in a total different way, because belief comes from a man's soul, and believeth happens regardless of the time, and no matter how life is lifing. Our second one we want to look at is thoughts. Our thoughts controls our actions and our habits. Our thoughts defines our character and shapes our reality, which is based on what we believe, ultimately determines who we are. Our thought process works in sequence with what we believe, creating a mindset that is reflecting who you believe you are, whether positive or negative. Who we are is just who we are. When we create a mindset with it controlling our actions and our habits, it becomes a lifestyle, which just means that we do life as who we are. For instance, you have poverty and you have rich people. Their lifestyles are different. One shops at Dollar Tree. The other shops down on Fifth Avenue. The one shopping at the Dollar Tree, if ever given an opportunity to shop down on Fifth Avenue, would enjoy the experience, but more than likely would feel uncomfortable, out of place. Wouldn't know that how to conform with the unspoken rules of being down on Fifth Avenue. Would be totally out of his element. Definitely wouldn't reflect his normal lifestyle, his everyday lifestyle. Same difference as the one that shops down on Fifth Avenue. Because they know the unspoken rule that there's a dress code to be down there, so that we know that you're one of us. But she better not show up at the dollar store where they put these dollar stores at, dressed as if she's going to Fifth Avenue. She's going to have a bad experience. She's going to definitely be out of her element. Our thoughts tells us how we feel, how I perceive my surroundings. My thoughts tells us if we're winning or losing. Which that's when confusion begins, when we believe that we're winning, but my thoughts tells me I'm losing. Our thoughts process molds us to become what we think. What we think is our reality of who we are. There's no way that one can manifest or bring into existence one belief of that I'm winning when my thoughts are telling me that I'm losing. As a man thinketh, so is he. I touched on the difference between believe and believeth. Believe is a singular experience, but believeth is a continuation of believing. What I believe today may not be what I believe tomorrow, unless I continue to believe it. Because life and issues may come along to change what I believe. To have a thought and to thinketh is different. I have to continually think on what it is that I believe. Lastly, on this point, we are what we eat. And if we eat healthy, then it will deliver healthiness to our organs, our heart, and our mind. Our heart, so that it can pump, it can work properly. It can pump that oxygen to the brain so that it can work properly. So that our thought process is operating in full capacity. So we are what we eat, because what we think determines if we line up with what it is that we truly believe, so that we can become what we was designed to be. And that is who I am. Another area that shapes, defines who we are is our experiences. Our experience comes from different happenings in life, spanning from major things to minor things. When these different experiences begin to shape who we are, we put them in our memory bank. And when something happens that triggers that memory, it brings our thoughts into that situation again. Now we're progressing. Somebody says something, or we hear something or see something, and it triggers that bad experience. If it's not handled and not just put away, it will stop us. We'll become stuck. So our experience shapes who handles that experience. Do it stop us? Does it propel us? Because it's not so much of the experience that defines who we are, but it's closely connected by bringing our thoughts and our belief into the experience. So really, our experiences challenges our thought, which sometimes challenges our belief. Where we grew up at. I run a cleaning service. If I had an experience that hindered me from being as involved in the company, I'm out in the field working, that experience will challenge my thought process. Because at that moment where it takes me out from doing for the company what I used to do, it could send me into a thought that maybe it's time to go ahead and close up shop and find something else to do. Because I can't get out there. I can't make this happen no more. Or will my thought process be, well, somebody's got to step up to the plate. Somebody's got to do what I used to do. Then I got to find somebody to do what the person that's doing what I used to do was doing, and so on and so on. Because I'm a winner, even with my experiences in life. But the experience itself would challenge my thought, which would challenge what I truly believe. Because what I truly believe is that what I am doing today will prepare me for my future. That's the name of this game. But if that experience says that it's time to close shop, so then that experience challenged what I believe. So our experiences that we go through, they affect who we are to become. Not to say that we can't alter because of life experiences and life's happening. But even in the altering or the changing of our belief, we have to be able to know that what we used to be, because of where we were going and how we were becoming, ain't the same. So when you ask me who I am, this is who I am today. Acceptance that there was a change in my life, that changed my belief, that changed my thoughts. And sometimes we can't handle that. So we go into our closet and create the character and dress him in characteristics. And that becomes who we are. Our experiences, we can't get away from. We can't not have them. They're going to happen. Life happens. I believe they come to shape us, to develop us into who we are to become. I believe that they come that they can either tear down or they can build up. But then, that depends on what you think. I was told a long time ago, if life gives you a lemon, you better set up a lemonade stand. Our experiences has so much of an effect on who we are. That child that lived through Uncle Junior doing what he did, now that child is doing to others what Uncle Junior did, because the rape tends to rape. The hurt tends to hurt. Not working through these issues leaves us stuck. Experiences, sometimes they're like a freight train. They come and they hit hard. But I'm reminded of stories of survivors that worked through it, rehabbed, learned how to walk all over again, and now they're thriving. I like that story better than the other one I heard. Person got hurt, just never recovered. Just went downhill. Didn't have a will to come back. They hit hard. But we have to be like that bouncing ball. The harder you punch was the harder that they hit the ground, but it was the faster that they bounced back up. Our experiences. Lastly, our DNA. That was passed down. And as it got passed down, a little bit more got on it. So I have a little bit of my uncle. I have a little bit of my mom. I look just like my granddad. Shapes on who I am. I don't have to do it exactly as the first carrier of the DNA. but to have the characteristics of it. It's hard to understand when you come from a family of success and then there's one that just is total opposite of everyone else. It's looked upon like you don't act like us. I don't know what went wrong with you. Our DNA shapes our belief that we can be who we're designed to be. Because I see it in the one that transferred my DNA to me. I see it in them. I see it in me. They got through their experiences. They got through their traumas. They got through things that challenge who we are as a people. Because of DNA takes me out of my individual eyesight into a collective body of people because I'm connected to someone that makes me who I am. My DNA. I wanted to have my son on here, Clayton Allen Jr. Well, it's Clayton Briston Allen Jr. is his legal name, and we call him Briston, but his story began with my desire. I learned of lineage, about lineage, and learned that it only comes from our male stock or our male's offsprings. And at the time, we were older in years, me and my wife. And we only had girls. So there was no way to tap into this lineage. The fish and the dogs were girls. I think one, Pookie and Pebbles was our dog. So when I learned about lineage and where you get the lineage from, who actually gives the lineage, I requested it. And I've told this story now for 24 years, off and on. How my wife told me at the time that I don't know where you're going to get it at. You better go down there to Walmart and see if they sell some lineage. Anywho, my belief was that I could obtain lineage even with the situation and the experience that I was having with my wife. And I do recall that 2 weeks, so 2 weeks time span, that she became pregnant. And I knew. No ultrasound. You know, in the church, we had testimony service. And I'm always just thankful for life and breath. The rocks do not have to cry out for me. But my belief was so strong that after 2 weeks of just a home pregnancy test, my testimony was, I thank God that He has given me my heart's desire, which was to have a boy. We didn't even have ultrasound. We didn't have a gender. Then I said this, what better day for him to come than on Christmas? We're talking this April. Make a long story short, my son was born. So, on Christmas in 2001, 8:38 that morning. At one stage, it looked like it wasn't going to happen. But I could not rely on that experience to determine what I actually believed and what my thoughts was. Now that he's here, I see the results of the DNA that's in him. Little small example. I could remember back to my dad sitting up on a shoe shine stool. And when he sat, he always crossed his legs and pointed his foot outward. For years I find myself sitting in the same manner. I looked up and my son, he's sitting in the same posture, believe it or not. My little granddaughter, who's 10 years old, tends to sit just like that. DNA. Share experience with you. Our eyes were locking. I was looking at him, and he was looking at me. And it dawned on me. I was looking at what I used to be. He was looking at what he was going to become. His belief system was growing. He believed that one day he would have to stand in a mirror and shave. Because he's seen who he was going to become do it. Who are you? What does your DNA deposits look like on you? What kind of experiences have you had that have shaped who you are? What does your thoughts tell you who you are? But outside of all of that, who do you believe who you are? Thank you so much for viewing today. I hope I have said something that is needed and it helps just to be able to overcome whatever, so that you and me can be the best we can be. Thanks again for tuning in. Don't forget, subscribe, like, and share. Give me your comments. Let me know what you think. And until next time, good day.